So I'm not feeling 100% good today, but I still wanted to be able to give you guys a video. And one of the things that I like about music is live drumming. It's fun to include it in your music, and yet I'm not a drummer and it can be challenging. But I don't always like to use drum breaks, primarily because they typically, well, I guess it's not typically, it's not like for me, the part of the music creation is being able to create the music yourself from scratch. It's something about it that's kind of fulfilling for me personally. It's nothing wrong with using drum breaks, but you can make your own drum break if you want to. So here's some drums. Now you do need some real drum sounds. You can get them in a variety of ways. You can either find them for free, like I did on the internet by looking up real drums, or you can go into a store like a guitar center or to a friend's house and sample their drums if you have time or a friend that has that. Um, the easiest way is just to buy some or find some real drums that are free. So that's what I did. And I put together a group of drums that I feel will work for me personally. I mean, there's no right or wrong on this. You could do it however you choose. But here's what I got. That's my two kicks. If you listen to them, they're really not much different. You could take one kick, duplicate it, and then pitch it a little bit just to make it sound a little different. The snares and the rim, I have one rim, and then the snares. And then hats, I got three different ones just to have some variety. They sound a little bit different, but I pitched them and changed the volume on them just a little bit. There's an open, close, shaker, tambourine, turn the volume down a little bit. So all of these sounds, here you can look at them. I got them one shot right there. The hats and any of the hats, open hat or high or closed, I have all of those set on a choke group. So you can see right here, choke group 1. So that way they choke each other out. Okay. And now I'm going to show you what I use on my mixer for these type of drums. I usually start with a drive, just turn it up a little bit, maybe turn the mix back a little bit too, just so it's not a lot of drive where it overly distorts it. Then I'll use the bit cooker and turn the bit rate down a little bit, maybe put the bit depth at 12. You could do 16 if you prefer that too. Then I'll put a little compression on it, turn the threshold back a little bit, turn the makeup up on it, and then that's where I leave it. And then a little bit of reverb and drop that all the size, the tone, and really back a little bit, dial it back. So it's just like almost like plate or room reverb. It's there. You can hear it like it's in a room almost, but it's not overly reverby. Now, of course, all of this is to taste. You need to figure out what you like or don't like. But this will be typically my channel if I'm doing it in Koala. Now, if I do it in Ableton, I have way more things, right, that I can use to make this. But this isn't the point of the video. Use what you have. So I'm showing you in Koala just so you can see it can be done pretty simple and easy. You don't need a lot of high-tech stuff. All right. So I started with 2 bars, but then duplicated it to make it 4 and then started making adjustments. But let me kind of just show you what's going on here. It looks like it's way more than it is probably. So here is the tambourine. This bottom one is just hi-hats. So both the tambourine and the hi-hats I did on, sorry about these notifications. This is why I usually don't record on the phone like this. Both of these were done with using the, here we go, the note repeat. And if you set this to velocity and you go up and down, you get your variation, right? Which is what typically I want. Now, if you want to play these and don't want to use note repeat, I've shown this before, but if you hit here, click here, there's a velocity. But you're going to need, for it to sound real, it's going to need to be some velocity changing going on. You can't just make a straight line of drums that all have the 100%, hit on it. It's got to be some variations in that to make it sound more real. And one thing I do is I will typically highlight those, set the snap to free, and then you'll see I slightly slide them over just a little bit off. That gives it a little groove and helps it to sound like it's swinging more, right? And then I did the same. If you look up here to these, they're slightly nudged forward on the tambourine. Okay. Then on the drums, let's go to the kicks. So I always start with placing a kick on the ones, at least on the initial one. And then I'll go from there and build out. Now, how you want your ghost kicks and other kicks to hit really depend on what your aim is going for. But you could place one, as you see right here. If you follow this, you see the one. And I'm just going to do that so you can highlight it. And then you can place one on a notch or two notches before the third. Or after the third, I'm sorry. So you see that? A notch, two notches before, and then two notches after. So it's right there, kind of in the middle of the third and the fourth measure there. But again, that's up to you personally how you want. And you'll see I did that down here on the fourth one. Right here, I put it right before. So each place you place it is going to sound a little bit different, right? Give you a little variation. You can also adjust the velocity of notes too, if you would like. Now the snares go on the 2 and the 4. So you'll see there's my snare right here. There's the 2. And then I have a second one that's different on the 4, just to give it some variation. And you'll see one trick I use is I nudge the first one a slight bit before the one. So this one right here is not sitting right on. It's sitting a little bit before. And that gives it, again, more groove and adding to the swing and some realism, because nobody hits perfectly on every time. So then I have to, the most important part of this, in my opinion, is adding in ghost notes, whether it be the kicks or the snares. So you'll see right here, technically, hold on, I'm gonna do this for you. All of that is snares, right? So here's these ghost kicks and snares. And you'll see I drop the velocity really low. So it almost like they flam or they kind of ride into it. Here, let me let you hear what it sounds like. So pay attention to just right here when it gets there. Yeah, that it's like, it's almost like it stutters a little bit. That's to give it some realism. So play around with those where you place them. And then just remember to make sure you have one on the 2 and this one up here, one on the 4, right? Those are going to be crucial. Those are the ones that keep the timing intact. And of course, you can adjust where they hit. If they hit slightly behind the 4, a little bit before the 2, just to give you some variation and what I would say some more live feel to the drums instead of it being so quantized perfectly. All right, so let's look at another case of that. So here's the 2. Here is the ghost notes, but I have more. You'll see down here, this is one, that's one. So I'm using 3 different ones. So if you look right here and you see these notes, I'm going to try to highlight the ones I'm talking about. You'll see there's some variation. And I even moved and nudged some of them forward, some of them back. and even use different velocity amounts so that you can get some variation in that. The more variation you have, in my opinion, the more real it's going to sound to you. The more nudging and dropping that velocity is going to make your sound a little bit better. So here's on the fourth one, you can see where I'm doing that same type of behavior again. This is a kick, but, and you'll see here too, look at the kicks on this one. So I doubled the kicks and I dropped the velocity on the second kick. Little tricks like that can make your sound a lot better. And then look at these snares, okay? So here's that same thing where I'm adjusting the snares, using different varieties to, oops, sorry about that on the phone, to adjust it, all right? So there you go. And this is just some tips and tricks on trying to get your drums to sound a bit more live. So take a listen to it all the way through. So doing things like that and then going back in, and I'm going to show you this right here, and then double it up and then make more adjustments on different parts can really give you that variation you need. And can also, you can do dropouts. So like, let's do a dropout real quick. So on a dropout, I'm going to pick this section and delete it. So now I'm going to let you hear it through and then you'll see the dropout. Now, you don't have to, when you have other parts in your song, you're going to hear the dropout, but it's going to be, I'm going to undo that so you can see this. So you could do dropouts like that where you completely drop it out, or you could just drop out parts. So let's just drop out a couple parts. In fact, let's see. All right, we'll drop out these ghost snares and kicks. And so what we'll leave in is, let's just see how that sounds. So you see I took out, let's take out these kicks maybe. Take out some of these too. And take out these. Okay. Little things like that. Now, if you have other chords going on with it, you'll see that it gets better. So I'm going to get rid of that. But this is the way you can start. And then one thing you can do, sorry guys, one thing you can do is build yourself a couple drum templates, aka MIDI notes. That's what I mean by that, drum templates, that maybe give you a base to start, like maybe all your hits on the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, right? That way you have that basis to start, your snares on the 2 and the 4. And then just keeping something like that, then you can come in and start doing new ideas with your drums. You can even play in the drum, of course, if you wanted to. So again, it's up to you, but these are just an idea. And I would say start with lower drum BPMs, like anywhere from I don't know, 80 to 100 is pretty good for your real drum breaks. And then you could take those and then start increasing the tempo if you want. So if you wanted it to be like 120, hold on 1 second here. If you wanted it to be 120 or one, so you can adjust accordingly. Just some ideas on drumming. That's going to be it for this video. I need to get off this phone and try to get to feeling better. But I just wanted to do a quick one for you guys to show you that. And I hope everyone's having a good week so far. All right.